What's up, Guardians? The new dungeon, Vesper's Host, is finally here, so let's break it down encounter by encounter so you can jump into the new Europa dungeon, get some amazing new loot, and of course, the chance to get Icebreaker. Real quick, before we get into the guide, if you are a solo player and you're looking for a group to play with, please check out the Discord link below. Now, let's get on to the guide. To first get access to the dungeon, you'll need to go and visit Spider in the last city, where he will have a quest for you called Rogue Network. The first step is just beat the dungeon on any difficulty. And yes, the Master Dungeon is officially out. However, it is bugged, so you don't get Artifice Armor. Don't do it yet. But when you load into the dungeon and you get into the room with these big boxes, as you begin killing ads, you'll notice a text pop up that says Viral Carrier Approaches. This is going to be a big piece in the dungeon mechanic. Red is for Operator, yellow is for Scanner, and blue is for Suppressor. Each of these buffs do have a timer, so you will want to be mindful of that because if you hold on to it for too long, you will die. Firstly, the person that picks up Scanner will be able to tell the operator which panels that they'll need to shoot. They're on the walls, on the ceiling, similar to the mechanic in Deepstone Crypt. The Scanner will initially have yellow symbols in their HUD indicating the panels, and they will turn white and make a noise upon approaching them. Those are the ones the operator will need to shoot. However, if you're noticing that your timer is running low, there are terminals on the sides where you can deposit your buff. You'll be able to immediately pick it back up though. So doing that is going to reset the timer. So don't worry, take as much time as you need to with the mechanic throughout the dungeon. Once all the panels have been shot, a text will pop up saying airlock power restored. Next, you're going to want to follow the path forward, taking you to the first encounter. This encounter is going to use the same mechanic that we just used in the beginning. To start the encounter, go up and interact with the giant ball in the middle, but don't hang around. A giant brig is going to drop down and it can squash you. Brigs are going to be the main boss type of enemy that you're going to have to fight in this encounter, so good damage options. Thunder Crash is fantastic. Nova Bomb, just good burst, quick damage. You could use Hunter, Blade Barrage, Silence and Squall. Tether is back. Go for it. Anyways, a heavy GL like Edge Transit with Deconstruct is a good option here because it does more damage to vehicle-coated enemies such as the Brig. My personal favorite though is Thunder Crash with Cuirass or a Star Eater build. The new GL with Loose Chains and Jolting Feedback, or hell, even Prosecutor like I'm using in this run. So once the Brig's destroyed, a Scanner enemy will drop down and you'll defeat him. All three doors are going to open. There's Brain, Heart, and Lungs. Two on the left, one on the back right where you first entered. It doesn't matter which door you go in first. On contest mode, we did find it easiest to go front left, and then back right because there was a timer involved. Right now, there is a little bit of a duplicating glitch, so you'll see us use that in this run. Makes things a little bit quicker as far as first encounter. You can basically skip two of the rooms. But if you want to do the rooms, just do whichever order you want to do. And you'll progress through each rooms until you get to two Machine Priest enemies. Once those are killed, the operator will spawn in. Just like the beginning of the dungeon, Scanner is going to go around the room, find out which panels the operator needs to shoot. Remember, they are yellow on your HUD and they will turn white. Also for the operator, just be careful if you're trying to kill ads because you can accidentally shoot the wrong panel and that will kill you. The third player who's not holding any buff, your job simply is just do ad clear. Enemies are just going to continue to spawn while your teammates are working on the panels. So just by focusing on the ads, it's going to help limit the chance that operator will accidentally start shooting a panel and the wrong one and die if they're trying to help with ads. So if you're holding a buff, just do that job. Third player, just shoot the ads. Once all the panels have been shot, a nuclear core will spawn and the player holding the Scanner and the operator buff can now deposit them into the terminals. Don't worry, they'll be in the next room that you go to. And any player can now pick up the nuclear core. So as you begin heading back into the starting room, if you're the player that picked up the core, you will have a radiation debuff, and once that gets to 10, you'll die. But luckily, any of your teammates can pick up the core if you need them to. Chances are, however, you won't need that to happen. And once you get back into the starting room, there's a big Brig in the middle that you'll need to kill. Again, Thunder Crash, Deconstruct GL, makes it a piece of cake. Once the Brig's destroyed, deposit the chest, or the core into the chest in the front room. Upon depositing, you can switch weapons and it can duplicate the chest if you time it correctly, so you can continue to drop the core into the other two chests. That way you can skip two of the rooms. If you don't want to, Continue into the next rooms. The operator and the scanner buff, like I said, will be waiting there. Repeat the same process you did in the first room. Grab the core, head back to the start room, defeat the brig, rinse and repeat. Once you complete the third room, a boss brig will be in the middle, a little bit tankier than the first two. No need to rush though, because once you defeat the brig, collect your loot, you're just going to make your way on to the next encounter. Before you get to the second encounter, there is a short deposit type encounter with 5 different deposit spots. First 3 are near the starting room, and as a team, you're going to want to move together opening doors, though it is important to close the doors behind you because you get power reserves. And the power reserve is what you need to open a door, and you lose it upon opening. You gain one back as you close it. So go through the door, close it behind you, move on to the next room. So proceed through the doors. Basically, it's just avoiding the boss until you get to sort of a mini boss and a captain. You'll make them drop the core once you kill them. You'll take the core to the first dunk spot, which is labeled 1 through 5. Repeat the process and dunk the next 4 cores. Next, you're going to want to drop down the floor and you've made it to the next encounter. You'll notice when you get here right away, there are numbered panels right in front of you. That wall has more panels on the left side, the right side, and on the front too. Make your way to the front of the room just to start the encounter. You're going to want to begin killing ads. An operator is going to spawn in the middle, pick up the operator buff, take it back to the terminal behind you, deposit it as you're going to need it shortly. Once the machine pre-spawns, kill it. Be aware the servitor boss is above you and he can drop little bombs. He can't hurt you. So after the machine priest is defeated, you're going to teleport above. So you're going to want to stay in the back, start killing the shanks and the exploder shanks. They can kill you. If you move out of cover, the boss can tether you and you'd have a short, I think it's 4-second debuff, and you will die if you stay out too long. Luckily, the timer's on top of the screen. You can see how long your screen kind of glows purple as you get tethered to him, but the boss is going to continue to throw exploding balls towards you. Just keep killing the shanks. Once the viral shank spawns in the back, kill him, pick up the buff. This is going to be your suppressor buff. You'll notice your grenade ability is gone and it's been replaced with the ability to create a sort of a decoy. Get as close to the boss as you can. Right behind cover works as well, so don't feel like you have to be in front of him. Hit your grenade button, decoy will spawn, shoot the decoy and it explodes. If you've done it close enough to the boss, it'll say Ranix loses strength and unity. The big boy will split into 10 individual servitors, each named Ranix, followed by a number. 2 of the 10, however, are a little bit different. They will have multiple eyes that glow. Find those 2 servitors and identify the number in its name, because those numbers are associated with the panels below. Once you've identified the 2 numbers, head past the servitors. You can run down the hall on the right-hand side, or you can go right in the big red middle where the boss is at. It's easier to go to the right because the boss can spawn and stop you from going down. It's annoying. But basically, begin the mechanic all over, kill the priest, go back up top. You're going to want to find the last 2 numbers. Once you've done it twice and you have a total of 4 numbers, head back down, have a player pick up the operator buff, and begin shooting the panels. Once all 4 panels have been shot, another suppressor will spawn in. You want to kill him, pick up the buff, and then launch your little decoy, shoot the decoy. Make sure you don't stay out again too long because he can tether you again and kill you. But if you shoot the decoy, it explodes. He'll lose strength and unity again. And basically, you've just started DPS. The DPS phase here is quick, so big damage is a must. I and my team, along with multiple other people that I've watched do this encounter, have found the best success with Parasite and Glacial Quake with a Star Eater class item. Although Star Eater isn't necessary, it is definitely very helpful. If you're using Glacial Quake, just do the heavy attack only. Well of Radiance Warlock or even a Nova Bomb with Parasite is a good option as well. For my hunters, I did a run with Gathering Storm and Raiju's Harness. Seemed to be a pretty good play. Tether makes it just stupid if you're running Hunter. Your frame rates will drop. Chances are you'll kill all of the servitors in one phase and they'll look like they haven't even died. So Tether, Glacial Quake, perfect combo. Basically though, anything with like a good area of effect damage, ignition damage, shatter damage is going to do a fantastic job. If you don't finish it in one phase, no worries. Just rinse and repeat until you do defeat the boss. Now you've killed Ranix, head back up top where you dropped down from initially and go over to the right-hand side. Next will be some sort of jumping puzzle with ads to make it to the next encounter. Be careful as you make your way forward because there will be essentially lightning strikes that hit the platforms. Contest mode, they one-shot you. Normal mode, they can one-shot you. So just be mindful of it. Now, you made it through the jumping puzzle. We're at the final boss, the corrupted puppeteer, also known as Atrax. Shoot Atrax to start the encounter. The anomaly will begin to pulse and you're going to drop down in the hole in the back of the room. This room has 16 total panels numbered 1 through 4. There are 4 of each number. In the middle of the room, there's a pillar with the numbers 1 through 4. The pillar numbers are blue, indicating which 4 panels you'll eventually need to shoot. The panels are red throughout the room. Throughout the room, there's also 3 terminals. So 3 buffs will be present in this room and throughout the encounter. Run to the front to start your encounter. And side note, if you want to run Grand Overture for boss DPS, like a lot of Titans are doing, shoot the panels prior to starting the encounter. It'll help build up your volley. I just went with Prosecutor on this run, and as you'll see at the end, damage was fantastic. Atrax will spawn 2 duplicates that are surrounded by radiation. That radiation can kill you if it stacks up to 10. And then a suppressor is going to spawn on either the left side of the room or the right side of the room. Kill the suppressor, pick up the buff, make a decoy. It's easiest to do it in the middle. That way the decoys just go there together. Shoot the grenade. It'll make the decoys vulnerable and not immune anymore, so you can begin to damage and kill them. Be on the lookout for the scanner to spawn in next. Defeat him, have a different player pick up the scanner buff. Scanner's job, begin to walk around the 4 pillars that have the blue numbers on them. The correct number will change from yellow to white on your radar, indicating that that's the one the operator will need to shoot. Have the scanner call out which number needs to be shot, then the operator will shoot the correct panels. There's 4, remember, there's again 4 that need to be shot. Meanwhile, the player with the suppressor can continue to add clear and help kill the Atrax clones. Deposit the buffs into the terminals, and then you'll need them in the next room. But once all 4 numbers have been shot, look to the left and the right side of the room. Whichever side has a flashing light, that's the side you're going to want to drop down. Once you've dropped down into one of the 2 doors, make your way to the room that has Atrax in it. Have the operator pick up the buff and shoot the 4 panels in the room. Any order is fine. Doing so will spawn 4 of the clones. The other player will pick up the scanner buff and begin to go up to those clones. When you get to the clone, make sure you look at your yellow radar. It'll disappear or it will turn white. The one that turns white is the one that you need to kill, because defeating the clone will drop a nuclear core, depositing your buff, and then pick up the core, head into the green room in the center. It is important to note, though, if you kill the wrong clone, even if you kill the right one at the same time, it is going to drastically shorten your chance of survival to make it into the room to deposit the core. So make sure you're only killing the correct clone. If you forgot to deposit your buff, it's not the end of the world. You can get another one. You'll notice the room is basically nukes itself. Half the puppeteer's shield is gone for the boss. So you're going to want to head back up to the bottom floor, proceed to the next room. If you go back up top, that's where you're going to find your buff that you lost. So you can go back to where you came from to pick up another buff. If you don't need to, though, just continue down the bottom door. Basically, we're going to rinse and repeat what we just did into the next room. Once we get into the next room, operator again shoots the panels, scanner identifies the correct clone to shoot, kill the clone, pick up the core, deposit it into the nuke room, and then you're going to want to head back up to the top. After you've done that, follow the path back up to the middle room. There will be a teleporter that'll teleport you back into the starting room that you began the boss encounter in, essentially. And then in the back of that room is going to be a giant hole in the wall. You're going to step into the big opening, and you'll be sent up to fight Atrax. And you can do damage as soon as Atrax is visible. There's a couple safe spots if you have a well warlock. Up on top of the tank's a really good spot. There's a kind of cheese spot as well. I'm sure a lot of people have you seen. Your next option, though, however, is to stay on the move. It does make it a lot more difficult because lightning will continue to strike the floor. It'll kill you. Floor turns yellow, start to jump. However, just so you know, you can bunny hop to stay alive, so you don't need to do a full-on jump in the air. You can just kind of bunny hop around. However, if you have a well warlock, have them place the well either in the back left, back right, I guess, cheese spot, or on top of that front tanker with the well behind you. That way it doesn't get killed, because they can kill your well really fast, and it doesn't go well. So you're basically going to want to continue to do damage. Grand Overture is fantastic. Whisper of the Worm, Rockets, GLs. Choir of One is fun to use too, especially if you're helping kill the clones. So you'll notice Atrax spawns in the middle. Do a ton of damage to him. He's going to either go, she is going to go left or right, continue to do damage. Some of the clones will jump up on the base platform where you guys are at. You're going to want to kill those clones because one of them is going to drop a nuclear core. Once Atrax becomes immune, take that core to the back left, deposit it, and it'll help extend damage phase. Once the second damage phase is over, Atrax will become immune. At this time, you're going to want to drop down below to where you came up from, and basically starting the mechanic over again. If you don't make it down in the middle in time, you're gonna die. But basically, that's the entire dungeon in a nutshell. The boss counter in a nutshell. Like I said, I've tried multiple builds. For normal dungeon, not really supportive. If you're playing Titan, Lost Signal, Prosecutor, Thunder Crash is a fantastic option. It's definitely something I'm going to be using in a lot more activities now that I tried it out in this one and had such a good run with it. But anything is going to be able to work and be viable for you as long as you're playing to how you can play comfortably. Learning new damage strats and DPS phases, it's really difficult on the fly, so if you want to practice beforehand, go for it. But do what you're comfortable with. Find a team. Like I said, our Discord has great players, people that want to help. So jump on in there if you need anybody to play with in your fire team. If you found a strategy or a loadout, though, that worked for you, that wasn't mentioned here, please leave it in a comment below. I always love learning new things about this game. And if you found this guide useful, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to stay tuned for new content. And until then, I'll catch you all in the next one.